Hello everyone, Manathrall here, and welcome to a little bit of a heads up about what's coming up this week. This week is actually the DBL XP weekend, so do keep that in mind. And in this video, I want to go over and remind people, I will have the link in the description below for the actual web page from Jagex about the rules and restrictions if you guys haven't seen my video on that before. But otherwise, I want to go over stuff that it'd be a good idea to have prepared before you go into the DBL XP weekend. And a lot of it's actually more simple than you might think, and there's also something that I want to discuss too about invention coming up, which some people may or may not know about depending on what you have seen with the behind the scenes Q&A or dev blog or whatever it was. But there's a lot coming up that is actually going to be very interesting for some people here with invention. But otherwise, when it comes to like skilling for this weekend, try building up throughout the year, different resources. If you are heavy into like smithing, try to build up your resources this way you can have them ready for like the artisan's workshop, or different types of smithing throughout. I can't think off the top of my head if artisans is allowed, but try to have that kind of stuff ready beforehand. The big thing too is actually having your crops ready in every single plot that you possibly can. Especially, the trees and stuff like that. Have all those plots ready, fully grown, and ready before 12 UTC. Because if you have it ready by then, you're going to get a big boost to your farming level. Actually, just going over, I'll go over the skills right here. There is one skill personally that I suggest avoiding during the DBL XP weekend, and that is actually dungeoneering. Unless you really, really hate dungeoneering, I would suggest avoiding that skill as much as possible during those times, because while you may get ahead in the dungeoneering levels very quickly, it'll also hinder you with how many dungeoneering tokens you get, because you get DBL XP, not double tokens. So it's actually very important to actually kind of remember that. And also, right now, if you guys have not heard, if you're not tuning into Twitch or RuneScape, well, not Twitch, but Twitch too, but Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter with Jagex and RuneScape, you'll have found out that they're actually planning on releasing a non-degradable money collector. So you'll actually be able to start collecting money constantly through dungeoneering, which actually kind of reminds me, I need to start saving up some tokens for that, because it's actually not going to be cheap. It is going to be extremely expensive, but it is a very good idea to get. It's supposed to be, if I heard correctly, 1.5 million tokens. So that is a lot of tokens, but for what it is and what it's going to do, it's going to be well worth the price. Because I mean, it's going to keep collecting all the gold drops for as long as you have it. So it's well worth it. The only thing is, they did say it's not going to be you're not able to bind it to your tool belt yet. They might do that, but they are not going to say that they definitely are, because right now, as it stands, it will not be able to. So that is something to try to keep in mind, because it might, but it also might not be allowed to be put onto your tool belt. The other thing to keep in mind with it is they are having the one that actually stays, constant, that it keeps 10% of the gold dropped, and that is for all time. So as long as you have it, it'll constantly grab all your coins, but it'll keep 10%. On the grand scale, that's actually not bad. But now that makes me wonder about like the small drops. Let's say it's, I know it'd have to be extremely rare, but what if there's a drop that's 1 coin? Do you actually... I have to do back to the freezer to get the bush penguin? What? Anyway, sorry. But yes, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on that, because it's a good reason to get your Dungeoneering tokens collected. But as far as like skilling goes, if you have portables will be very good for this time frame because they help you out a lot in XP as well. You want to have all your farming plots ready, not just the trees and the fruit trees. You want to have all your farming plots ready. Because why would you only want to have the farming plots when you, well, just the tree plots when you can have everything ready, and then you'll be really set. So that's actually the main targets you want to worry about. Now there is going to be a few more. Season. Oh, there's a seasonal high score. Okay. But we'll go with Dreadnought. Dreadnought's the easiest out of all these guys. So yeah, you wanna... I'll go through more skills here while I'm at it. If you also want to focus on stuff like construction, that would be a good idea. Construction is very costly. Of course, if you're an Iron Man account, remember you cannot take part in this, so don't even bother. But it is something that is to be thought about and considered. Rune crafting would be a good one to actually go for as well. Mostly because there is going to be more and more stuff dealing with rune crafting in the future. So it's just, why not get it done? And the reason why I say this is because rune crafting has become more and more of a crafting skill with armor for magic, as well as just creating of the runes. So do expect more and more to come out of rune crafting as time keeps going on. And I don't know about you guys, but I like being ready in advance. And I'm sure a lot of you do too. So, if you're ready in advance, then you don't have to worry as much. So that's another one. But, I mean, given time you'll be able to make or buy or trade. But if you're an Iron Man, that's a different story. Dungeoneering, we already discussed that. I would really avoid doing that as much as possible. Prayer would be a good one, but prayer, if you do prayer at all, try to do kind of something simple with prayer. Don't actually focus too much on it, because the main things with prayer don't really work with double XP weekends, so it's not the best way of doing it. Not to mention there's so much stuff that can give you prayer XP now that I don't even know if I'd really bother with it. Prayer is very easy to train now. And then we have stuff like agility. Agility, I'd have to say I'd highly recommend doing agility, because that is a very boring skill currently still. It is supposed to be getting a rework down the road, but as you guys have seen, some skill reworks can take quite a long time. And it's mostly due to, player feedback that, if we want it a certain way, of course it's going to take a while. So do keep that in mind. Herblore would be a good one to actually go through. Keep in mind there's actually a portable for that as well, where you can actually make your potions on it, so you can give you more XP, more return for stuff like Herblore. Thieving, if you do absolutely want to do thieving, try just to do like Pyramid Plunder. it's still the most viable thieving training method. So that would be the best way to go about that one. Crafting. By now, a lot of you have probably figured out the best way to do crafting is actually through gems. It's the easiest, it's the most cost efficient. There's a lot of ways to get gems that you don't really need to worry about. So it's one of those things where I really wouldn't bother spending the money on getting a bunch of stuff on it anymore. Because with all the stuff you can craft now, it's not that hard to do anymore. Slayer, personally, I would say avoid it. It is a very easy skill to train. I mean, unless it's one of the skills that you still need to get up to the max level. I mean, of course, you want to do that as best you can. But it's just, I don't know. Personally, I like Slayer. I like getting all the drops. So trying to rush a skill like that seems kind of pointless because you're going to be doing this stuff anyway as time goes on. Unless you hate combat. It's the only time I would suggest doing it for a double XP weekend. Hunter. Hunter is another slow skill and it's not very rewarding overall yet. Keep in mind I said yet. There probably will be changes to Hunter in time. But I would have to say for now, it would actually be a very good skill to train for a double XP weekend because of the factor of the lack of stuff you can actually do with Hunter. Up next, fletching. Fletching, yeah, that would be a good one for it, but if you ask me, I mean, fletching's not that bad to do. But also to top it off, when it comes to fletching, fletching is actually just had been announced to be coming out this month for free to play. Now, of course, there's probably going to be certain content that is locked behind members with fletching, like maybe the Elder Shield bows and stuff like that. But fletching is to be for free to play soon. So the complexity of fletching, a lot of the stuff it's going to change when it comes to fletching and woodcutting. Because if you think about it, the prices are, for some logs, actually might go up. But bow cost might go down. So that could be very good news for members and free to play, because I think they can cut up to U logs. So it's actually very good news for you guys out there who are free to play. See, so fletching is just one of those where it's like kind of 50-50. If you don't like it, it's like one of those kind of skills. If you don't like it, go ahead and do it. Crap, I hate this boss fight so much. Oh wow, I actually got him. Divination? I can't really recommend doing divination for it. Oh gee, she appeared as soon as that happened. I hate this guy. Okay, so divination, like I said, I can't really recommend divination because divination is one of those skills that you're probably going to be doing a lot. What the heck? Yeah, it's a skill that it's kind of actually heavy-handed, and then with the Invention Batch 2 coming up, there's going to be a lot that comes with divination too. So I can't really recommend doing it for that. Mining would be a very good one for it. So do try to do maybe some mining. Mining is a very slow skill. This is why I hate this boss. Smithing, again, try to save up your stuff. There is a portable for it. Also, if you're doing these kind of things, try to have divine locations ready as well. Because divine locations could be a huge benefit to you guys if you guys are doing that for it. Fishing, I wouldn't really bother with because, well, fishing is going to be always needed. It's one of those kind of skills where you're always going to be doing fishing. I hate this guy. Cooking, again, that's one I wouldn't bother with because you're always going to be doing it, so there's no point really doing that. Fire making, I have to say fire making I would recommend doing it because it's a very monotonous skill, it's a very boring skill, and there's not much to it, and there is a portable for it as well. He's appearing every single time right where I'm at. Wood cutting is another skill that I would actually recommend again for doing it because wood cutting is very boring. If you want to go to a good wood cutting location, try actually, if you remember, going to the Demonheim Peninsula, because when you are there, when you are there at the Demonheim Peninsula, that there is actually a bunch of yew trees there. Kind of really want to flip off the freaking game right now. But yeah, so Demonheim Peninsula is very good for it, and then you also have, other than just the Demonheim Peninsula, you have the Moss Giant Dungeon, which is very good for it. Started to really hate this guy. But yeah, because in the Demonheim, the Moss Giant Dungeon, there's actually a bunch of magic trees there. And if you have a Sign of the Porter made, you can actually just kind of have that going. And you'll be actually pretty good for it. Otherwise, farming we already discussed. Summoning, just try to have as much of your secondaries as you possibly can for it ready. And other than that, you want to have stuff, like, you want to have saved up a lot of charms for it. And I mean a lot of charms. Invention. Okay. If you're saving your blueprints for it, that is fine, but here's the thing with invention. This is actually the one I wanted to discuss with you guys, is save as much as you can for invention. Because Monday's release for the week is Invention Batch 2. So you're going to be having the new machines, we're going to be having new blueprints, we're going to be having a whole bunch of possibilities with zero inspiration required because they are removing the inspiration system. So that is the thing to remember, and with this Invention Batch 2 is becoming the Divine-O-Matic, which you take that when you are siphoning, and it will actually make charge packs. It'll make those little charges, so you can actually have that equipped. And you will be making those without any worry. You will no longer need to... Don't disappear again, dude. Come on. Holy crap, he does a lot of damage. Thank God. But yeah. So, there's actually a lot with that. So try to save a lot of your stuff for... I am getting hardly anything from this one. Yeah, that really, 55% is subtracted. Jeez. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot with that. Now, if there's other stuff, because keep in mind, double XP doesn't tie in with disassembling item. Well, disassembling augmented items. It doesn't tie in with that. So do try to keep that in mind. Save your stuff as much as you can. There's going to be an extension, like a 2-week. I think they said it was a 2-week extension for double XP. Well, plus 50% with invention. So do keep that in mind. And you're going to want to save as much as you can for the new release. I mean, you won't need to worry too much because there is more inspiration, but there is going to be a lot of Invention XP floating around that week. So, that is actually all my suggestions for this. I know this video went a little bit long. I got a little bit distracted, so I'm sorry about that. But, yeah, just try to go for the skills that are a little bit harder. Try not to go for the skills that you're going to constantly need, like, you know, fishing, cooking. Go for skills that are harder to train, more costly, and ones that, well, get the most benefit out of it. Not so much necessarily the ones you don't enjoy the most, but the ones that are the least amount of profit to them. Because I guarantee if you do that, you'll be a lot better off for it, because you will be wasting a lot less material. And RuneScape is one of those, you really don't want to waste anything. Now, I will say that I will be giving away some free resources shortly before the double XP weekend. So I will soon actually have a video coming out listing all the free items, and it's the first come first serve system. So if somebody comes and they collect all the, you know, some of the items, and unfortunately, you know, it won't be there for somebody else. Now, I will say I will not be giving, you know, all the resources to just one person. So if you do want to come and collect, and let's say you want a bunch of logs, I will gladly give you all the logs. But that also means you can't go and collect all the coal, too. That wouldn't be right. So that is my plan for that. I did say before that I was going to be giving away some resources for this event, for double XP weekends. And I plan on keeping true to that. So that is actually coming up here shortly. And I will be having the list out within the next few days. So that'll actually do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and again, sorry for the length of this video. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, later guys.